sometimes it's good to just yell about football. What are you doing? Don't do this to me, Harry. The Ohio State. It's Ohio State. What do you mean, the? It's a poison. I almost stroked out and died over it. I'm glad to be at the party. I'm mad we're this late. You ain't a captain of nothing but a sinking ship. That helps the defense without them even doing a damn thing. Doing a damn thing. The call-in line. 312-988-15. You tell Johnny all you've heard and seen. Oh, Irish. Oh, Irish. Oh, Irish. Oh, Irish. Irish. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Welcome in. Welcome back, folks. We actually have a big Notre Dame day. Like a legitimate, there's stuff happening. It isn't just us sitting here talking about what might happen, what could happen, what may be happening. Big day in Notre Dame land for a couple different reasons here. Here's the big news today. The big news today is we are officially past my 4th of July deadline, light at the end of the tunnel. Give me a few more weeks and we're going to be back into football, and I need it. I just need it. I need it. I got no baseball to care about. Out of sight, out of mind, just doesn't even register. I'm fully ready for camp. For this show, for my writing, for my own sanity, I need it back. I need it back. I just need it back. Less than a month, I need it back. So that's kind of where we're at. And we got a big recruiting day today. And then we're going to have some other ones. And that's a part of what we need to talk about today is where this 25 class is leading, where it could lead, and where that puts the roster moving forward. There's some interesting stuff to go over there. So welcome in, everybody. Thanks for being here. Hope you all had a good 4th of July. Jay Carr stole my opening line, which was going to be, I just hope everybody's got all their appendages and their arms and their legs and their hands and everything else you might blow off. So if you have any firework catastrophe stories, feel free to give me a call and we could break those down. But I hope all of you guys are in one piece. All digits accounted for. That's good. We don't need any Jason Pierre-Paul. Wasn't that the D lineman that blew his hand off or whatever? I can't understand that one. You guys, I can't understand that one. You literally make a living as an athlete with your hands, and that guy buys, $20,000 worth of fireworks, and before you know it, there he goes. There he goes. So it's just not worth it anymore. I went through a fireworks phase when I was like a young kid. Daddy, can we go get some fireworks? I went through that. And then it didn't take me long to realize this is a bad idea. It's just a bad idea. We got a couple phone calls. I want to see what you guys think. I want to get through my main point here. Then we'll give it to the calls. We'll see how it goes today. I don't know whether we're going to have more people, less people. It's a day where some people have to work, others don't. So we'll see people's availability and where we're at. So thanks for being here. Obviously, you can find the program on YouTube. Do it. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Appreciate it very much. Give the video a thumbs up. That helps Yanni out as well. Notifications on Twitter. Search bar Always Irish or at Always Irish Inc. Emails alwaysirishnd@gmail.com. Audio only, anywhere you want it. You can get it if you don't want to see my face. Nobody blames you for that. I don't even want to see it most days. The call-in lines. You know what it is. 312-988-15. You dialed up. Tell cousin Johnny all you've heard and seen. Instagram, Facebook, Always Irish. Burt Reynolds, it's always good to have you. I can't see this Burt Reynolds thing and then have his face right there. And the other thing is Burt Reynolds is either from or did something like near where my brother lives in Florida. and you drive down the road and it's like Burt Reynolds Drive, and then it's like Burt Reynolds Beach. So it's just in my head, and I see it here, and it's really pretty funny for me to think about. So it's always good to have Burt Reynolds here. When is Blair committing? I think it's 3:00. There may be a time thing where it's 1 hour off. I don't know. I think it's 3. We're going to get there. Yeah, it must be Burt Reynolds or something. Which reminds me, I still got to see what they're cooking up for Happy Gilmore too. And it's going to be hard to do with no Chubbs. So that's unfortunate. No Chubbs. I guarantee Grandma's no longer with us, as old as she was in the early 90s when the original came out. So I really come up with for Happy Gilmore 2. If I had to guess a plot, maybe something like PGA versus Live, and Happy Gilmore's in charge of like the normal, nice, fun group, and then Shooter is like of the league where they're all arrogant and like too cool to have any fun or whatever. And then they battle. I don't know, but I'm interested to see because that movie's just an all-timer. It's an all-timer. Oh, one more thing. Don't forget about patreon.com/alwaysirish. It's the former captain. He's the leading tackler. It's Mike Goolsby. He got away. I'm telling you, I think he sent me some pictures the last couple days. I'm pretty sure they drove from Nebraska to Colorado, and he's like camping. He's out in nature, and he's sending me these beautiful pictures of these vistas and the weather and the mountains and everything. And I text him back. My blood pressure dropped 80 points just looking at it. It just looked so peaceful. So good for him, man. It really was peaceful looking. So good for him doing that, getting away a little bit. We'll be back on that football grind before you know it. All right. Here's to, yeah. I don't think he's on a Ayahuasca or whatever, whatever Aaron Rodgers does. I don't think he was on a retreat for that. Ayahuasca. I don't know what you call it. Whatever it is. I can't pronounce that word. Oh, man. Anyways, happy 4th of July, everybody. I want to get to these phone calls. So let me get through my main point, and then we'll do that, and we'll just see where we go from there. So hang with me if you're on the lines. I promise it won't be 80 minutes. I promise. Maybe. Probably. Happy 4th of July. Happy 4th of July. It's my marking point. A big demarcation marking point for the country, by the way. So congratulations to us for that. And it is always my marker for light at the end of the tunnel. We're getting there. Few more weeks. And that's the thing. We're all like, I need football back. I need football back. I need football back. And then once it comes back, it's just stress for 6 months. And everybody's like all worn down and stressed out. And it's like, remember all those months you were begging for football to come back? Well, you got it, buddy. You got it. Ohio Pod, what's going on, man? What's going on? Blyberg, good day, gentlemen, and Johnny 3-star. You do know that it bothers me when you call me Johnny 3-star. I know that's why you do it. It really does bother me. Like, I'm not even going to lie. It really does bother me. B Bean, why is John wearing a Flavor Flav chain? Where have you been for like 2 years, bro? It's a part of the outfit. It's a part of me. It goes where I go. Gotta have it. Gotta have it. So I listen, you gotta have the chain. And if you didn't know, I'm gangster. Duh. I'm representing. On this day, look at Chief Brody. Of all the days to be Chief Brody, this is the winner. Good job. This Taj Murphy, what's going on? It was nice to meet you at the Blue and Gold game, Taj. On this day, 49 years ago, I visited Quint ahead of my secured charter to hunt and kill the large rogue great white shark that had staked a claim in the waters off Amity Island, New York. And I watched, they always put Jaws out for free, like on your TV service or whatever around 4th of July. And I did watch it the last few days. It's always it's a classic. You know why it's a classic? It doesn't do too much. It is what it is. You could overdo that movie, kind of how they did later on with the Jaws simplicity of that movie is what makes it a classic. You don't have to overdo it when it's a huge shark. That's just a human fear everybody can relate to. In the way they did it, it's just about right. You can't overdo it. So I really like it. Here's the other part. Perfectly cast. That's the other thing you could mess up when you're doing a Jaws. The shark is the star. If Chief Brody was played by like the A-list, topless guy in the late 70s of whoever it was, good-looking guy, whatever, it wouldn't hit as good. The fact that Chief Brody, Schneider, it's like a normal guy adds to the appeal. So perfectly casted there as well. So good job on the Jaws. Really good job on that. And Quint's that's just a quintessential character. So beautiful thing. My daughter was watching with me, and she asked if the shark was giving that guy a bobo, and my response was, he's gonna eat him completely. I don't know if that's a bobo or what. I guess it's one big bobo. But she said, "Is that shark trying to give that guy a bobo?" And I'm thinking, how am I gonna explain this one when he gets chopped in half? I don't mess with the ocean, people. There's too much going on down there that I don't trust and I don't know about. We humans shouldn't be messing with the ocean. Okay? Only people in the SEC hyping A&M up as A&M. Nobody else in the SEC sees them as a threat, SPF says. Here's the deal. I just think people don't know what to expect. That's what I think it is. There's this reverence for Elko. But as far as this year and game one and everything, I just don't think they're too unpredictable. When you've had so many big changes like they've had with the roster and the staff, I just don't think anybody knows how to gauge them. Dr. John, good to see you, man. Which girlfriends are you entertaining for the 4th of July? Back up, Terry. Oh, Lord. What is you doing? What is you back up, Terry? Oh, Lord. If you don't know what I'm referencing, YouTube back up Terry, and you'll know. And you should know already because it's a classic. All right. Here's the first thing. The first thing is JaDon Blair announcing later on today. Somebody tell me, 2 or 3 o'clock, I believe. Is that Central? Is that Eastern? What are we working with? He's announcing later. Irish people feel very good about it. Everybody I've talked to feels good about it. They felt good about it for a little while now. I think everybody in Notre Dame land is expecting this to go Notre Dame's way. And I feel like it's to the point where if it doesn't, everybody would be surprised. Okay, 3 Eastern, so 2 Central. I think everybody feels good about that. Okay, so let's talk about back up, Terry. Let's talk for a minute about what's left here in this 25 class. Then we're going to go to the callers. Okay. You get Blair. Okay. There's a 4-star guy, reaffirms the back end of the defense, all that kind of stuff. You need receivers. And I know there's some in the class. You need a higher cut. You need some different, you need some different skill sets, different body types. You need more receivers. I would like 3 more. You need at least 2 more of Hines, Meadows, Robinson, and I don't know what to expect. I'm just telling you. I don't know what to expect. These guys are visiting. Meadows liked Alabama when he was down there, whatever. Who could blame them for not liking whatever they have going on? I understand all that. You need 2, if not 3 of those guys. And it's like, John, are we having too many wide receivers? Whatever. When you're Jay Lehman, good to see you. He said he survived the hurricane in Jamaica or whatever. That's Jay. Stay safe out there, brother. Stay safe. You need more of these receivers. So I'm not listening to do we have too many wide receivers and how many can we afford? No, you're redoing that old room and you need it to be way better. So go ahead and load up on those guys and whatever you need, because you just need options there. And we need a higher level of productivity in a more productive rotation of that position across the board. That's what Notre Dame needs badly. So you need two to three of those guys whenever they're going to commit. Here's the other thing. I'm getting greedy. And when I say I'm getting greedy, I mean I want Owusu Boateng and I want Madden Frame. I want them both. I want them both. I hear a lot of talk about, maybe they feel good about one, but they're not sure about both. No. I need them both. Give me them both. Give me them both. I'm getting picky. Give me them both. So I want both of those guys. And so I'm looking at 2 to 3 of these receivers. And then I want everybody else to be Irish. And when I say I want it, I mean it's kind of realistic. I'm not stretching about where Notre Dame's at in all these races. Like they're if not the main pick, the second pick, like they're right there. They're right there for all these guys. So give me 2 out of the 3 receivers and the rest of these dudes. Here's what I like about this. Callers, I promise I'm coming. Here's what I like about this. And I mentioned it before. You're closing out the class with 4-star or higher players, not a bunch of RKGs that look like me's. And that's a complaint that I have. Okay, so that is what would be good about landing any of these guys I just mentioned on that list. The final main big guys on the board that we're going after. That's what I like. 4-star or higher guys. What does RKG mean? The right kind of guy, Chief. When Brian Kelly refused to recruit good players because it took too much effort, he got up at the podium and lied to you and said that he doesn't care about the recruiting rankings. He's just looking for the right kind of guy. And the right kind of guy happened to have my physical skill set and skeleton frame. Right kind of guy is code for not good player. Look, we got Brian Kelly on there and RKG on there. Grandma's getting a bingo at the VFW Hall tonight, baby. So that's an RKG is code for we know none of you guys think that our recruiting class is that good, but I got to sell you something. So I'm telling you, we just need the right kind of guy. Never mind if they're good at football. So whenever I make fun of the RKG, that's the concept. Is Kelly trying to convince Notre Dame fans that to overlook that half our recruiting class is ranked 6,000 in the country, but they're the right kind of guys that are going to get Notre Dame where they need to go. All right? So that's what I mean by the RKGs that look like me's. I don't need them at NDs. You know what I'm saying? So, but here's the deal. In past classes, we would have 4 or 5 spots left. No one high on Notre Dame's board with real Notre Dame interest. And then you got to start going to lower level guys that aren't really elite players, don't even have that potential, but damn it, they love Notre Dame. It's literally like me, where all I would want to do is play at Notre Dame. I love them. It's my heart. It's all I want to do. There's only one problem with it. I'm not good at football. So I'm glad that this would round out on the high end. That's how you want to do it. You feel however you feel about the class, and then you add 4 or 5 4-star guys to end it rather than limp into the finish line with 3-star and unranked guys. That is a big shift. A big, big shift. And I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Now, here's what I don't like. Yeah, the University of Oregon, they should just change their name to Nike University. Go ahead and do it. They're running the whole thing. Just call it Nike University. That's what it is. Here's what I don't like. When you look at Notre Dame's roster and you look at the pieces that we're putting together, I feel like assuming this wide receiver room's in a much better place and is trending up with what's already in the room and whatever's coming, assuming that happens and that's trending on a more healthy track for Notre Dame, I think D-line is where Notre Dame, I don't know if they're going to compare to the best teams we played the next couple years. Maybe I'm wrong. And I feel like this year you're okay with the blended guys you have. I'm a little concerned do you have the dogs and guys big and physical enough in the middle and all that, like moving forward in 25 and beyond? Maybe it's all going to be fine. I don't know. But when I look at Notre Dame's roster and where they're trying to build it to, and I look at some of the SEC teams and some of the, whatever, like Georgia's defensive line classes and all this stuff. If you get quarterbacks trending to be in a really nice place, no matter what direction, who it ends up being in the next couple of years, that wide receiver thing seems to be stabilizing. Remains to be seen. I'm open to that being wrong. And these are just guys, again, I'm open to it. But it seems like they're going to be in a much better place. That D-line is maybe one of the areas where you may feel Notre Dame doesn't quite stack up. Not to most teams, but when you get in that playoff and you want to make a deep run, I think those guys that have those power D-lines, that's going to matter a lot in this new postseason. So follow me here. Yeah, Brandon Fry, congratulations, man. I saw you got a job interview. And I saw that you got the job. So you're a good guy. I'm rooting for you down there. I miss you when I come to South Bend. You're no longer around, but represent us well down near Atlanta, okay? So follow me here. Here's the fix for this. Number one is figure out how to have a really good year this year. Maybe the Notre Dame pitch appeals to more of those monster defensive linemen on the inside and the outside that we want. But here's the second part. If that doesn't work or you're struggling there, here's what you do. You stay in-house for quarterback moving forward, and there's no reason you shouldn't be able to do that moving forward. So you stay in-house for your quarterbacks from now on. You take that saved NIL money you're not spending on a Hartman and on a Riley Leonard, and you go get a top D lineman or two in the portal, and it's going to be costly, and you just have to pay it. You got to pay if you want to play, baby. You do that, and the wide receiver room takes the steps forward that I suspect that they're going to. Notre Dame's playoff competitive moving forward. So that's where I see this going. And even if you feel kind of decent about the D-line, you go into that portal and you pay up for a big guy anyways. That's what I would do. So that gives you an out to be able to fill a need at a spot that for whatever reason, historically, normally, it's very, very hard for Notre Dame to land a lot of these guys. That's the other thing. You could name guys here and there on that D-line that are monsters or whatever, but it's landing enough of them that they all overlap and they all play off each other. And it's multiple problems for an offense, and there's a rotation, and there's enough of them to make a consistent difference. So that's what I would do. You're going to be saving what? $1 million? You're literally going to be saving $1 million depending on who you ask for, a little more or a little less, if you're not dipping back into that portal for a quarterback. So take that money and go get yourself a monster. And it is not going to be cheap. You are going to have to overpay. And that's just the way it's going to be. It's just the way it's going to be. If you look at a lot of those D linemen in the portal this last cycle and what they were kind of asking for with their agents or whatever, it got bid up out of control, even beyond what the greedy agents and representatives wanted. It's going to be costly. That's what a premium position that is on the D line. It's going to cost you. And Notre Dame's going to have the money. You don't need to go get a quarterback and worry about that. And that's where the bulk of your NIL money's got to go. So that's my plan. That's my plan. Anybody interested in that? That's what I tackle from the South for less 500K. All right. Well, that's half what we're giving these quarterbacks. So there you go. I'm not saying it's going to be cheap, but I'm also going to say this. The money should not bother any of us at all in any way. What Notre Dame charged to do anything over there and the donors and the money, don't let the money, it ain't coming out of your pocket. It ain't coming out of your check, so get over it. If you've come this far and you want to really be competitive in this new market, in the new playoff, in the new way the old game's played, come up with the money, get a couple of these D linemen in here that are monsters, and then you should be set. You should be set. So remains to be seen what happens with this wide receiver thing. I need 2, if not 3 of these main guys we have left on the board. And the Blair watch should be fun this afternoon. I know the Michigan people weren't happy about the latest update they got on that. And it's really interesting. John, are you buying Riley Leonard calls? I'm coming to you. I got a 386 and a 937 first 2 up. John, are you buying Riley Leonard as a first-round pick? I was surprised when I read that mock draft. I'll believe it when I see it. I'll believe it when I see it. If he's a first-round pick, he needs to be the reason that you're winning and making moves in big games. I will believe it when I see it. Now, I will say this. It was eye-opening to me that he won that Manning Passing Academy. And the reason that's of great interest to me is everything I've read and heard about him, that's the biggest knock against him. Everybody mentions his toughness, his physicality, his body frame that allows him to run over people. Everybody talks about all of that. The leadership, tough as nails, lower his shoulder, big frame, RPO master, all this stuff. The knock on him is always the passing stuff. Medium range accuracy, deep range accuracy. We don't know how that's going to go. And then, oh, by the way, he missed pretty much all with your guys or whatever. I know they did some stuff earlier in the summer, but like not in an official capacity, whatever. To hear that he went into that camp and ended up performing better than like almost 50 people that were in it, man, that should interest you. Because it's not like he did that and had to give up the big frame and the running ability and the confusion that causes a defense and all that stuff. You got all that and this. So that really opened my eyes. Because it's supposed to be the weakest part of his game. The weakest part of his game. So number 1 is being healthy. And number 2 is, can we actually have like an offense where you can run it and throw it and feel good about doing both? Think about this, Notre Dame people. I know we have some other fans in here. Think about this, Notre Dame people. When's the last time you really felt confident and good in Notre Dame's running game and passing game? Both. Not it's 3rd and long. Okay, I know what this is. The tight end's going to run across the field. We're going to throw it to him. And if we get it, it's first down. And if we don't, we're punting. And we're going to do that 80 times a game. 80 times a game. It's hard for Notre Dame fans to wrap their minds around a fully functioning offense with creativity, physicality, different athletes that can do different things, where the run game is a stressor for a defense. And guess what? So is the passing game. Both of them. That's what the real world looks like. Look at how far away from the real world we've been operating in when it's like a foreign concept that you can put an offense out there that equally tests a defense through the air and on the ground. That's not crazy, but it is for us. It is for us. Obvious passing situations the last few years have been like, okay, throw it to the tight end and hope for the best. Seriously, throw it to the tight end and hope they're a monster and they're going to get the first down. And we're not creative. We don't trust anybody to get behind anybody. We don't trust contested catches. We need the tight end to get open, and that's it, baby. Like, come on. Come on. Come on, man. So I got to believe it to see it. But I am encouraged by that Manning thing. It makes me look at the passing part a little more interestingly. Look at this. This is one you don't get often. Shout out from Yorkshire, England. Man, dude, the internet's wild. Think about what the internet just did. I'm sitting here in Illinois, and this person's in England, and we're connecting. What a beautiful thing. I don't understand how the internet all connects. Jay Lehman, somebody smart, explain it to me. I don't understand how that all connects, but I'm connected with this person from England, and go Irish. Yorkshire. I'm sorry. What do I look like? An English prince or something? Give me a break. 386, you're in the mix. Happy 5th of July. What's going on?
Hello, John?
Yeah, I got you.
I'm here. I heard the beep. I'm finishing up some breakfast here, but dude, what are we, 57 days away? It's getting close. It's getting close.
I can feel it, man. I need camp to be here. 4th of July is always my marking point of like, I could see the light at the end of the tunnel. We're winding down here. And where do you fall on this, man? What do you think about the recruiting we have left for 25? How are you feeling about this last ramp up into the season?
So usually I'm pretty on top of the recruiting. I haven't been as much this year, but I just have a little bit of trust and faith kind of in the coaches and recruiting, programs that we have going on. Freeman's just doing his thing, right? Like, we're probably going to get Blair today. It just seems like we just keep trending in the right direction with most of these recruits, which is a blessing because in years prior, it was always a worry. We're sitting on the edge of our seat, hoping and praying to get this guy, where now we're going in with a little bit more confidence. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. Did what I say make sense, that I like that the remaining handful of main targets we have left that are seriously considering us are high-level players, and it doesn't feel like you're just trying to fill out the numbers, just with bodies to say we got the numbers or whatever, but there's dudes at the end of this that are trying to jump in. That's a big difference to me.
It's a huge difference, right? Like, we're not just trying to fill gaps anymore. We're going after the premier top talent, which Freeman knows if we want to be elite and compete at the elite level heading into this playoff system, that's what we need. We need elite depth at the 2s and the 3s. It can no longer be we just have our starters out there that are, blue chip players. We need to stack the roster and really, really create that depth, which I think he's doing. It's showing itself. I think if we finish this class very strongly, it's going to be one of the best classes we've had in a while.
Yeah, and man, there's some big targets left for Notre Dame with those linebackers but those wide receivers, I really do need. I need 2, if not 3 of these guys. Like, you need to reinforce and get that group up to par, and it hasn't been for such a long time. I need that. And so, I don't know, man. This year, every season, for every fan base, they say it's a huge key year. I genuinely do feel this year carries a lot more weight than most at Notre Dame. There's a lot to prove, and there's a lot of big picture things that are laying on the line here for Freeman. He's got to have a good year, or it's going to be a real problem.
It's a massive year. and it starts with week one, and that's why I wanted to call you. But just to touch on that, it is a massive year for Freeman, even bigger than Kelly's year 3. The expectations are just higher. We're recruiting at a higher level. We have a better roster. So with that comes those expectations. It's huge. This year could not be any bigger for the direction of Freeman's tenure. I truly believe that. But I just wanted to say, too, you've been back and forth with some callers on A&M. John's blowing it out of proportion. He's treating this too big. This needs to be a faceless opponent schedule, right? No matter who we play, whether it's A&M, Florida State, Northern Illinois, Purdue, faceless opponents. What do the elite teams do? Georgia, Bama. What do these teams do? It's faceless. They show up and play Vanderbilt on a Saturday in September. They beat them by 7 as if they're playing one of their own, right? We need to treat it as a faceless opponent, the whole schedule, and that's how we're going to get the best results out of this team. We cannot look at, we're playing a lower team or we're playing a higher level team. It's got to be faceless and have the same approach every single week.
Yeah. Well, now wait a second. Same approach every week. But do you agree? I think you need to make specific preparations running into A&M that aren't every run of the mill every week. And you have a month to do it. I think that needs to happen. Prepare for that heat. Prepare for that noise as much as you can.
Oh, I do. And I think there's certain situations that, are certain games that you're going to do things a little bit differently, right? But no matter who it is, it's all a playoff game at this point. We have no room for error, right? And it starts with A&M. It is 100% an absolute must-win, not for just this season, but for Freeman too.
Oh, man.
We legitimately, it is a must-win game. We have to go down there and take care of business.
It makes me, man, I'm really struggling with this. You can't really practically say the result of week one for Notre Dame on the good or the bad is going to be what the whole year turns into. But it's really hard to not feel like that game right away is going to be the indicator of what kind of level this team can play at this year. Like, I know you can lose that one and win the other 11 and then still host a playoff, whatever. I know that. It's just really hard for me to honestly not feel like the result of that game is going to be it's just going to set the tone for what the whole year is going to be.
You're right. And that's it. It's a tone-setting game. It's a momentum-building game. You take care of that first one, have a nice, strong game, whether you win by 1 or you win by 20. Just get the W, right? Get out of Texas with a win, and then the schedule sets up so nicely. You've been so on point with everything that you've talked about as we're getting closer to the season. The schedule just sets up so favorably for us that if you just get that first one and carry that momentum through the rest of the schedule, we can have a really, really positive outlook on the rest of the season. But if something were to happen, God forbid, it's just going to take all the wind out of the sails and all the momentum is gone. And now every single week we're on pins and needles because now we literally cannot afford to lose another game, right? The pressure just amplifies, right? So if we can just get through week one, have a big win on the resume, it's just such a confidence booster.
I'm right there with you. That's the problem if you lose week one is the pressure was already huge, then it's going to ramp up to like 100% pressure every week. You're playing for your playoff life. Like you had no margin for error. And the other part of it is everybody's going to be so negative. Could you even imagine how toxic everything's going to be like in my ecosystem if Notre Dame loses week one? There's going to be no momentum, all negativity, all glass half empty. And I'm not saying it shouldn't be. I'm just saying it's going to be really ugly. The difference between that and winning that game, no matter how ugly it is or whatever, winning that game, it's night and day. You got to get this one, man. And I know that offense probably isn't going to be at full throttle week one for a bunch of different reasons. O-line and the quarterback didn't have all of his practices and all that. I know all that. I expect Notre Dame's defense to be ready, though. That offense is going to take a while. That defense should be ready to eat down at A&M.
Let them eat. And that's where it's like, if we can't put up in the 30-point range, like, our defense is not going to allow the other team to score, 25, 30 points. It is game one, though, so you just never know what a game one is going to provide. So these high-stake, big program matchups in week one, you just truly don't know. But that's my saving grace, too. With everything that we have returning on the defensive side of the ball, there is just no way there's just no way possible that we can let anything bad happen here. The offense has to be at a level that is just, even if it is just marginally better than last year, we should put up 30 to 35 points, if not 40, and get the heck out of there, and then steamroll the rest of those couple other games until we get to the big ones. But, yeah, I'm with you. Like, the defense is a saving grace. They're going to be flying around. It's Golden's, third or fourth year there. So it's like those boys are super, super comfortable. They just got to be chomping at the bit to get down there and play this game.
Yeah.
They're ready. They're ready.
You did mention one thing that's always in my mind for week one, whether we play a good team or a dog or whatever. Week one variance. Weird things happen in first games that don't happen game 5, game 6 with just goofy miscommunication, getting on the same page, timing is off, like all these little things that go on in a football game. You have little weird nuance week one variance things that always happen that won't later in the year. If anything like that happens, it needs to be in our favor. Like, you just can't afford some goofy week one mistake and then it costs you the game. You just can't afford that if you're Notre Dame and where they're at. You can't.
It's a really good point. And why I feel so comfortable with that, it's year 3 for Freeman. It's year 1 for Elko. Freeman has this thing rolling. Freeman has also had a few critical mistakes, not just the players, but him and the staff as well, to where it's like he now knows how sharp he has to be and what is required of his whole staff, top to bottom, down and distance situations, 10 men on the field versus 11. He knows how critically important it is to stay super sharp. So I'm with you. Like, we need to see a different level with him, and I'm very hopeful that we will, because it's just one of those things. He has those couple years of experience now to where he knows, okay, this is what it's going to take. This is how we need to be prepared for week one. Let's go in there and have a super clean game. Now, are they going to make a few mistakes? Sure. It's week one. It's going to be a raucous environment, over 100,000 people. It's going to be crazy in there, but I really am hopeful. And I'm really thinking that we're going to be the ones that are on the favorable side of those, week one mishaps. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's going to be interesting. It's, and Jeremy says, is this the always worried about A&M show? I'm sorry. It would be a mistake to just be like, oh, whatever, they're not good, we're going to go down there and blow them up. Like, I don't know where you get off having, any Notre Dame fan could get off feeling that way. I just don't. Like, you got to take it seriously. If not because of who they are, because of the moment this is. Does that make sense? Those are different things. Even if you don't want to respect what A&M is as a team right now, week one, you need to have respect for the moment Notre Dame's in right now, week one. And that is irrelevant of the helmet we're playing. It's the moment we're in is that big, and it matters that much that you get off to a good start. So whether it's A&M specifically or where we're at in this part of Freeman's tenure, what you need to do, a big deal. And I'm not underplaying it. It's a mistake to underplay this.
It's a 100% a mistake, and anybody that's saying this is a worry about A&M show, that's not the case. This is game one of the 2024 campaign, 2024 season. There is no, worrying about it. It's game one. It's SEC West. It's Texas A&M. It's big boy football. We're not opening up with Miami of Ohio or Toledo. It's big boy football, right? treat it as such. Go in there and dominate the game. Be overly prepared and ready for anything that game can throw at you, and then let the results speak for itself. We are a better program and sitting in a better spot than A&M right now, but we have to go take it. You can't just sit there and, let it come to you or not worry about it as a big game. It's a huge game for this team and this year, and that's how it's got to be treated. I'm 100% on your side.
Yeah, that's where it's at. Not to the point where you play tight and timid, which Notre Dame did a lot under Kelly. The bigger games, they played tight and timid, and it was obvious. But just more like the excitement to go seize this moment. These guys need to be fired up and ready to go. And it's going to be exciting, man. Anything on the way out? Thanks for touching base. Good to hear from you.
No, nice to chat with you, John. Yeah, I'm with you across the board. I think don't play tight. Like you always talk about the road games, go in there and just shut that whole crowd and stadium up.
Yep.
Go in there, prove a point, and be like, we are here for this season. We're coming.
Yep.
Like, that's what I want the message to be after that game.
That's the best thing you could do early is make a couple big plays early to shut that crowd up. And I need it. So I'm right there with you, man. Enjoy your breakfast in Florida. Take care, buddy.
Take care, John. See you, man.
Nice guy. Nice caller. 937, take me to Evan. What's going on?
Hey, John. Good morning. Happy 4th of July weekend here. You're a favorite Buckeye fan. How are you doing?
Oh, boy. I'm getting a bad reputation on my own show between the Ohio podcast and you, and I got Kent in here. Everybody thinks this is always Buckeye.
Hey, I agree with the previous caller. So if you were to tell me that you're going on the road to a team that has a higher blue chip ratio than Oregon and has one of the hotter coaches, they just hired one of the hotter coaches in Division I college athletics. I don't think there's a way you can downplay that or overplay it. You know what I mean? I just think it's a big deal. I think that's the tone setter for the whole season. So I completely agree with the previous caller.
Yeah, I don't know why a certain segment of Notre Dame fans are convinced this is going to be like an easy situation for Notre Dame. I don't know whether they just want it to be or in their minds, or if they don't want to really think about what it could be a challenge because that upsets them. I just don't have it in me to overlook Mike Elko, who I respect a great deal, that roster that I know has athletes. I know they have athletes, and the environment in the situation. Week 1 out of the gate, Texas heat and humidity and all the noise in that place. It's going to be a rough place to win your first game of the year, and I need you to figure out a way.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I think it's honestly, it might not be as big as the Ohio State, the first game that Freeman had. I think that's probably his biggest game so far. But just with the hype and everything.
See, I might differ. Wait.
Like a 1B.
I might disagree with you. And the reason I might disagree with you is that game had a lot of hype because it was the first. But I feel like it wasn't the same level of pressure because there was a lot of understanding that it's game 1, week 1, year 1, and we don't have all of the talent we need. And so I feel like there was actually less pressure on Freeman in that moment than, say, the Ohio State game last year and what this one's going to be. I think it's totally different where Freeman actually got like leeway because there was understanding he was new and that roster wasn't in a great place. So I think it's last year's Ohio State game was way bigger of a deal, and so is this game than that one.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about the summer of 22 and like every day that was the main topic almost just in the fan perspective. It just seemed like that opening game was just giant. I mean, as far as pressure for Freeman, 100% agree. This game is a huge a way bigger pressure than that first Ohio State game because, you have all the recruiting success now, and it's just to be able to keep guys. That's the thing. That's the game, right? So, yeah, that's giant, in my opinion. I mean, if he lost that Ohio State game the first game, there's obvious reasons. There was just a lot of hype there with the fans. But I was just, one reason why I wanted to call was it's just so interesting how the recruiting is going, and you're talking about receivers, and man, I'll tell you what, we can't even get top receivers anymore. The price tag is it's gone insane. It looks like Oregon's snagging most of them these days.
No. It's not Oregon. It's Nike. It's not Oregon. It's Nike. Let's be very, very clear. No, I'm serious. Change the name to the University of Nike. That is the operation that's making everything at Oregon happen. And listen, I respect their coach. He's a good coach and has accomplished a lot. But I do genuinely wonder how much of this would be happening if you didn't have the power of Nike's wallet and all that goes with that backing it up. That's a big deal. Also,
100%.
But dude, listen, I am not about to let you cry about talent. I was looking at the blue chip numbers, and the 4-year rollover rate for Ohio State was 90% blue chip rate. Forgive me that I don't have a shed to tear if you don't land every single player in the country you want.
Well, hey, I'm winning to take everything. We don't get too many national championships over here, even with these high numbers. So it's hard to win those natties. You know what I mean? So we need every player we can get.
And you know what else? But, I want to talk to you about pressure, and I want to talk to you about expectations. Ohio State's in a situation where if they even lose one game in the regular season, it's going to be considered a big problem. I don't see any other way. You guys, it is like national title or bust this year for Ohio State. I'm just telling you, that's like what I feel. Am I reading the room right? Like even one regular season loss to anybody on your schedule, and Ohio State people are going to be pissed off. Am I right?
No, I think there's 2 games that we could lose. No, you're right in a sense, but there's 2 games. So with the expanded playoff, you're right. In the sense that if this was a normal year, I agree with you. The only I think we can lose 1 game, but that game cannot be to Michigan. If it's to Michigan, day is done. He, unless he miraculously somehow pulled out a national championship, but he would be let go. I think if the fans would. I think that the 2 that I would circle that they could lose and the fans would understand because they'd probably play them again if that was the case would be Oregon. Going out to Oregon, that would be we play Michigan State away, but they're not going to be a real away opponent. I don't think they're going to be very good this year.
Yeah.
So our real first road game will be Oregon, and then we'll go to Happy Valley, and I think both of those are going to be at night. So, we can lose one of those, but I think we'll play them again in the Big Ten championship. Yeah,
I'm much more of a believer in Oregon, especially at their place, than I am in Penn State. Penn State is Notre Dame with Brian Kelly. You're going to beat the 10 teams you have more talent than, and then fall flat on your face and get humiliated in the 1 or 2 games where you actually have to play real talent. Right. That's what I see them being, and I'm not going to change. I'm not going to change on it until their results change, and they just don't. Every time you need them to knock somebody off, they can't match up against the best teams that they play. But that Oregon, it's going to be a real deal. And I got news for Big Ten fans. I think a lot of them are going to be pissed off seeing a team like Oregon jump in the league and be really competitive. There's a lot of big fans of Big Ten teams that are not going to like that because they're going to get knocked down a peg.
Yeah, I agree with you. Especially teams like Iowa, Wisconsin, having Oregon is going to surpass those teams.
That's what I mean.
Those are the life.
That's what I mean. Those teams that are used to being in like a respectable tier that isn't like the top end crust, but the next level that's like respectable. That's the tier that's going to get bumped down even more. And it isn't just Oregon. I think more than one of those teams coming over may be able to do that bump down. Initially in my purview is LSU and USC week 1. Yeah, that interests Johnny Boy for a lot of different reasons. I can't wait for that one.
Yeah, I'm interested in that one too. USC, they're hard to figure out because their recruiting has been so up and down. So I'm not sure what's going on over there. And Lincoln Riley, I think he's a really great offensive coach, but I'm just not sure he's a head coach guy. He kind of, he's got some things going on where he doesn't understand defense. It kind of reminds me of Ryan Day, except he doesn't. I don't know. He just doesn't fare as well in the big games, which it just seems like to me, at least. I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe I'm wrong. I could be outspeaking my coverage.
But you know what? I think they thought it'd be a much smoother ride at USC. They were acting like Lincoln Riley's there. They're going to get every guy they're interested in on the West Coast isn't going to Notre Dame, isn't going to leave for anywhere else. Like they're not going to Oregon or whatever. They thought they were going to have the pick of all those guys. And now I think they're realizing the landscape's changing enough where it isn't like that. And I feel a little anxiety coming from them, and I love it. But I'm very, very intrigued. USC, LSU. You got two totally rebuilding defenses that were atrocious, way worse than they should ever be based on the talent they have in the program at both places. And you have a lot to rebuild on offense with both teams losing their big shot quarterbacks. I could not be more intrigued for that game. The only way I'm not going to be excited for that game is if we lose ours the night before. Then I'm just going to want to light a match and go hide somewhere.
Right. Real quick on that one, that's a neutral site, right?
I believe it's Vegas. I think it's Vegas. So neutral, Vegas, but way more on the left coast than the right. You know what I mean? But yeah, Vegas.
Right. Okay.
But then again, USC fans won't put down a surfboard and walk 5 feet to go to the Coliseum. Why should I think they're going to make a trip to Vegas? Like they won't even put the surfboard down and go in their own stadium. Anyway,
it is. How many of those guys have already been to Vegas? And a lot of those Louisiana fans are going to want to be, in Vegas for the first time.
Yeah.
So it'll be. That's going to be.
Can you imagine Coach O in Vegas? Coach O going to Vegas. I'm gonna roll the dice. I'm gonna roll the dice. Find me a bunch of college girls down here. Coach O go to Vegas. I'll put all my money on Black.
Yeah, I can. He's probably there right now as we speak.
I'm telling you, that dude, I love that guy. I love that dude, man. He's just who he is, and he don't care if you like it. He ain't changing for nothing. That guy owns himself, and I love him and respect him for it.
And we all have to say this. That guy, he's not a great head coach. We know that. Well, he's a hell of an offensive line coach.
Yeah,
I think he's a great defensive or whatever the line that he coached. Oh my gosh, they were ferocious wherever he went. But one last thing, the recruiting thing is just the most bizarre game right now. I think all the recruiting experts out there, it's so funny. They are literally a month, 2 months out predicting these players. And then a half an hour before they make their announcement, they flip their crystal balls, and all of a sudden, their percentage of getting the pick right doesn't. It's a joke. That's a joke, in my opinion.
You know what it is? Know what it is? It's just like being a weatherman, where no matter what you predict, if it changes, you just go, "What do you want me to do? It changed. It isn't my fault." Like it's the same thing where there's no consequences for being wrong.
Right. And you know what's funny about it too, is that these guys are taking the steam out of the kids' announcement. So, it's kind of in some business. Ways, it's like kind of a joke to do that.
Yeah, that's the business. And then you know what else too, man? In the Notre Dame niche, I don't know about everybody. for the most part, when you get notified ahead of time by the recruiting people that a commit's coming and to get ready for it, there's kind of an agreement. You don't go on YouTube and blow it up for 100%. I know we're getting this. You kind of let him have his moment, but you make your preparations to talk about it after in a classy way.
Right. Yeah, and that is not what's happening. I think that's a dying industry, kind of like the funeral industry you were talking about the other day.
Yeah, it's dying for sure.
Less and less people are. I think your niche, John, is the perfect niche where you talk a little bit about recruiting, you talk a little bit about the game, and then you talk a little bit about life events. So I really love your style and your show, and I'm going to keep listening for hopefully years to come.
Thank you very much. Hey,
I'll let you go, sir.
I appreciate it. And touch base with me when we get further into camp, and we'll see where we're both at and all that. Do touch base, okay, buddy?
Yeah, sounds good. Sounds good.
Have a good one. And let that damn dog out. Arf, arf. 419, you're on the line. We got more calls. I'll keep them moving. 419, what's going on?
Hey, what's going on? I know majority of your audience is Ohio State fans, so I've got a little bit of
Mark. Here's what I don't like, Mark. You put that in the chat before I even went live, and I was gonna give you a hard time about it. And then I take a call from the Buckeye guy. So I walked right into your own trap.
Fitting. That figures.
But Mark, wait, time out. No. Before we go any further, here's what I'm going to say. And I think you'll agree to this. Don't you think it's probably a good sign that I have a Notre Dame focused show and we get a mix of some other fans in here? We got a couple LSU people. I get a couple SEC people. And we got Roger Dodger, the USC guy that's here often. And we do have a handful of Ohio State people. I do think that's good overall for the show that they want to be here, even though I'm Notre Dame focused. You give me that at least? Come on, bro.
Yeah, I'll give you that. I mean, it makes it interesting and fun as long as they're not ridiculously over the top, if they're, somewhat fair.
Yeah. What's on your mind, Mark? I'm scared to know. I know your mind is a wild place. I'm scared to ask.
Well, I just got some stuff jotted down on Post-it notes. I can't look at the articles on my phone while I talk, but, Swarbrick and Gene Smith, they're both going out together this month, and it just kind of made me think, because a lot of people like to shit on Swarbrick, and I'm in Ohio, so we're starting to get the Gene Smith pieces where he's being celebrated and all that, So if you look, these Ohio State fans seem to forget, but, if it's illegal at the time, it's illegal. And I feel like Gene Smith is the biggest fraud. He's on my Mount Rushmore of lack of institutional control. I mean, Jim Tressel did improper benefits for a decade. And, there's a proof of it for at least the minimum of a couple years. Maurice Clarett pulled on him, after they suspended him a full year. You got the Tattoo 5 suspended. Trell Pryor was suspended, so he had to go pro. He had 8 different cars in 3 years. I mean, Tressel was ahead of its time, I guess, the pioneer with this stuff. But this is all Columbus Dispatch, FBI investigations. Pryor made $40,000 on one sale of his equipment.
I like this. I like how Mark. This is really petty and going back. I love it. I love it. Keep going.
They vacated 2010 season, 15 scholarship loss, 50 plus cars because they were loners. And if you remember, Urban Meyer's first year, they were undefeated, but they couldn't win a title because the probation. And Troy Smith suspended 2 games. He took money, covered Sports Illustrated. the behind the lines expose. Trump
Ooh,
covered it all up.
expose.
He got fired.
Ooh, expose. That just makes it sound bad.
He
Whenever
deleted
you
those emails.
whenever you hear expose,
Urban Meyer. Why did Urban Meyer get fired? He deleted text. So
oh man,
same thing. Oh, health concerns. Well, he was suspended before he stepped aside because he was going to get fired too.
no,
And that's not even to mention the whole Jim O'Brien basketball thing where the coach
Mark,
that was around 10 years admitted to paying players.
What would your reaction be if I said to you, you just sound like an angry Notre Dame fan because you don't win nothing and Ohio State wins a lot of things and they're always nationally competitive and you need to get over it and you're crying and it's spilled milk and only losers would have a bunch of Post-it notes bitching about all this stuff from 20 years ago. How would you respond to that allegation, sir?
Well, it wouldn't bother me if these Ohio State fans, they were so outraged with Michigan cheating, and that's the pot calling the kettle black. And I'm not saying, take everything away from Ohio State. I'm just offering it in perspective because Gene Smith survived all of this stuff.
Yeah.
And I think Swarbrick did everything the right way. He did a lot of things, improvements, expansion, stadium, the deals, a lot of things people didn't like the neutral game site, the ACC deal, maybe wrote its course.
What about my misguided passion? What about my misguided passion?
I don't know.
Me neither.
Like I said, I'm just putting it out there because these Ohio State fans seem to forget there's this trail of evidence and they celebrate all the wins, but they forget about all these suspensions, all these players, the probations, the scholarships, and their athletic director survived it. And here he is going out at the same time as Swarbrick. And like I said, I think it's just perspective. I think Jack Swarbrick gets a bad deal.
Mark, let me ask you this.
If Kelly put one of those years together, we'd look at him differently.
Let me ask this. I do think that's the pushback you're going to get. It would be, Notre Dame, you don't win nothing, and now you're worrying about all this in the past or whatever. I have a genuine question for you. How should Jack Swarbrick be looked at by Notre Dame fans regarding his tenure? What should Jack's legacy as Notre Dame's athletic director be on his way out? I'm genuinely asking. I'm not baiting the question or anything. I just want to know what you think. How should he be remembered?
I think all in all, he did a good job. I think he moved the ball forward. And like I said, if Kelly wins one of those years, that year he faces Kansas State and they win it all, it's a completely conversation. But everybody judges off of football.
Yep.
So, that's kind of the shortcoming.
And you know what? And I think he knows that. That's the other thing. As disconnected from regular people as Swarbrick is, he's got smart brain syndrome and fancy world syndrome. He could not be further disconnected from people like us. But even Jack knows it doesn't matter if you win 20 women's basketball championships and the fencing title every year. If it ain't football, your legacy, there's a level it can't go above. And I think he understands that fully. He did a lot of good things, but there's a level you can't reach if you don't win in football.
Yeah, and I don't know what else, he could have done. Maybe somebody has an idea, but, Kelly came close 2, maybe 3 years.
Yeah, he did.
But I put that on Kelly more than the athletic director.
The frustrating part is every single time you thought Kelly was close, you very shortly after learned we were very far away. And it was the most frustrating part of all those experiments in those years is feeling like we were close. And then you find out you were really miles away the whole time and you were fooled. That was really hard to take. And it's been our reality for a long time, Mark.
Yeah, I know Gene Smith, won a national championship at Notre Dame, played 4 years, but I just had to call in and shit on him for
There you go. Hey, Mark, did you have a good 4th of July?
I just like to forget.
Did you have a good 4th of July? Did you light off bottle rockets in the living room just to bother the wife, or what do we do?
I drank some PBRs in the back porch and watched some people let them off in the neighborhood behind us.
There you go.
Pretty boring.
Yeah, it's exciting. Dude, I've seen a meme or a GIF or whatever. You know the meme where it's a guy looking in the mirror at himself, trying to convince himself of something in the mirror, talking to himself. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And a guy, I saw one yesterday, and it was that guy pointing at himself in the mirror going, "My fireworks video is unique and different. I must share it." And it made me laugh. Like, I only want to see a firework video if something unique happens. I'm blown up. I need something on fire, or I'm not interested. They're all the same. Mark, I love you, and
Yeah.
I'll check my messages, bro. I'm way behind.
Just to let you know what to expect. I know you said something about collabing. And check your DMs because I laid down the track for you.
Oh, boy. Now I'm interested. I'll check it out. I'll let you know. Thanks, Mark. I can always count on you, buddy.
All right, later, bye.
Yep. I'm going 619-812, the next two up. Notre Dame's Wine and Cheese with a $5 holler. Glorious name, glorious logo. That I really do love it. With the Dr. John, according to the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, wolverines are a threatened species. I am just so sick of Michigan in every way. I'm sick of them. I'm sick of their fans. Their recruiting people are intolerable and unprofessional. I just can't handle it. With the intro of the Michigan State Omen, could that open the door for Omen with Michigan in the next 5 to 10 years? Here's a couple things to keep in mind regarding that. Number one is, I believe the next time we're on the schedule, I think it's 33, and we go to the Big House. I think it's in 33 is the next time it's on the schedule. With the changes in the Big Ten and the SEC and them doing away with divisions and having more of a round robin type deal, adding in these West Coast teams that I think are going to be able to compete with a lot of these Big Ten teams in there, I do wonder what the willingness is going to be, not just for Michigan, but everybody overall to want to jump out of conference and do one of these big games like we got with A&M coming up and all that. I'm wondering if the appetite for that kind of matchup is going to go down, as I think getting through your league in the SEC and the Big Ten is going to be tougher than before, because you're going to have to play more good teams in a year, and you don't have we're in the Big Ten title game. Oh yeah, who are you playing? A title game. It must be a really tough team, right? Yeah, it's 4-loss Northwestern. Remember those years not that long ago where you literally had 4-loss teams playing in the championship game for a conference? I don't respect that. Are you out of your mind? Are you outside your mind? I don't respect that. Anyways, I'm wondering how many of these teams are going to want to start scheduling big-time non-conference stuff with all that going on. Here's the other thing. Oh, baby. This has been in my head the last few days. We're looking at these regular season schedules and what we have laid out. You got the Alabama match. Notre Dame don't play nobody. We got Alabama on the schedule coming up. Take a seat. Just played Ohio State. Just played Georgia. Alabama coming up. Back off. The only schedule that will be deemed acceptably challenging enough for Notre Dame haters is Georgia, Alabama, and then Georgia, and then a bye week, and then Alabama, and then Georgia, and then you end with three Ohio State games. I'm convinced the only schedule that will be deemed tough enough to respect if you don't like Notre Dame is 4 matchups against Georgia a year, 4 against Alabama, 4 against Ohio State. Maybe you could take one of those out and put an Oregon one in there. John, that's not true. All I hear every single day, my DMs are full of haters saying you don't play anybody. Your schedule's a joke. Whatever. 619, you're up on the line. 812 coming up. What's going on?
Hey, John. How you doing this morning?
I'm doing very well. I'm excited. Today we actually have some news. You know, we're on commit watch for JaDon Blair, and people feel good about that. So we're looking out for that. And then it's the light at the end of the tunnel. A few more weeks, the guys will be reporting for camp, and then we're off to the races, and we're going to be able to start seeing really what we got this year. So I'm excited for it and a little anxious. I admit that. That's what's going on.
All right. Hey, this is Texas Chris. The first time I called in, I had the long dissertation that made you implement the shot clock, so I'm going to be quick today.
Ooh, interesting. Let's see what you got this time.
So I only really had one thing to call in about, but I did want to also touch on the earlier caller was talking about not underestimating or not downplaying Texas A&M, just because that is a huge game. And I'm glad we're playing at night. We talked about the heat before. It shouldn't be as much of an element now. But this is a team who only lost one home game last year. It was to Bama by 6 points. So they're a lot. If they were playing in South Bend, I think we probably beat them by 14 plus. But it's just not. That's not what we're playing.
Yeah.
It'll be a tough game.
Do you agree with me that I think some attention needs to be paid to prepare for the noise and the heat all through August? To me, you have no reason to not be blasting crowd noise and music in your practices. Like, you have this runway allotted to you to be able to prepare for some of this, so you're not frozen in that moment when it happens, like Kelly was at the Big House in 19. That game was lost before we kicked it off. 17 in Miami, game was lost before we kicked it off. You could see the fear in everybody's eyes. We were scared to play. It can't be that. You got to be prepared to attack this moment, not let it attack you, like when I watched Jaws last night.
Yeah. So one thing that I'll say is we've had some down moments with Freeman. It hasn't all been, sunshine and rainbows.
Yep.
We've had some poor performances, but I don't remember seeing any games where we came out looking scared of the big moment like we did so many times under Kelly.
Yeah, flat's different than scared. Flat is different than scared. Yeah, with Kelly, exactly. there got to be some scared moments where you could look at the team and see they were just tail between their legs before we even got it going. You could see that. Flat is a different issue, though. Flat isn't scared. Yep. See, number one in defense saying Duke with the question, but Flat isn't scared. Those are different things. Now, that's a big question I do have for the group and you. Notre Dame had bad starts on the road last year. Even the games they ended up winning on the road, they often started slow. I don't think you want to do that down there with that fan base and let them get cranked up. You cannot start slow on the road this year. You just can't do it. You got to figure that problem out. Whatever caused it, you got to do something different in preparation.
Yeah, and I think being flat, last season's schedule was kind of special, but I think it's also an indicator of an inexperienced head coach who's just still feeling out how to push the right buttons out of there. I think over the course of time, we will get better at that. It's just a natural progression.
You would like to think you would like to think you would develop more of a feel of how to approach those moments to get the guys to peak when you need them to peak. But it has been an issue. Notre Dame's played a lot better at home overall than they have on the road. And I understand Marshall and Stanford were both at home too, but I feel like those are weird year one nightmares, and we moved kind of down the road from that. But they played a lot better at home. I need you to be ready for this moment, man. I am not going to be like, I'm not open to being like, oh my gosh, we have 4 false start penalties because it's so loud. Nobody can communicate and hear each other. I have no flexibility on that at all. You need to prepare louder in August than it's going to be in that building. So it's no big deal. Do a silent count. I have no patience for any of these mistakes. When you have a whole month to prep for it, I have no patience.
Yeah. So I definitely think that we should win the Texas A&M game. It's not a game we should lose, but I think it's just going to be a close, hard-fought game. And people that are thinking we should just blow them out or Freeman tough, they're just off the mark. It's going to be a tough.
Dude, but they do have talent. I don't understand. Like, if you look up the blue chip ratios, they have like, they're like the 7th highest blue chip ratio. I think it was like low 70s. And there's talent on that roster, and it's SEC talent and athletes. And I don't know why, even with the year one and all the moving parts and they had 30 guys leave the program, 28 come back. And even with all that, there's a lot of talent there, and you're at their place week 1. You mess around, you're going to have problems. I don't know why all Notre Dame fans are not taking that seriously.
Yeah, I mean, last year their season was so bad that Jimbo got ran out of town, and they still only lost 1 game at home to Bama by 6 points. They're not a pushover at home. But
yeah.
Let me get to the point that I actually called for to so I can get out of here.
You sound far. Hey, you sound far away. I don't know if you changed something or whatever. You just sound too far away right now.
Sorry, I put it on speaker.
Oh, there you go. 100% crystal clear now. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So there's been a lot of talk about us getting the 5 seed. And I just wanted to throw out there for discussion, you with other people, why are we so wrapped up on the 5 seed? Because to me, the 6 seed seems like the better route to get to the title game. And here's why. As the 5 seed, you're going to get a home game against number 12. As a 6 seed, you're getting a home game against number 11. That's basically a wash. Okay. But then after that, you're going to have to, as the 5 seed, you're going to have to go through number 4 and number 1 to get to the title game. But as the 6 seed, you're going to go through number 3 and number 2. So that seems like a more, unless it's just a weird year where the number 1 seed is not the best team, really, which that's probably not going to be that common. I think being the 6 seed is a clearer path to get to the title game.
All right. Now,
that way you're playing the best.
Now, let me think this through. I think the thought is, if you're the 5 at 11-1 Notre Dame or better, whatever, if you're the 5, then you're hosting the playoff game. Obviously, that's a big deal. Maybe it's against the group of 5 team or whatever, and you feel good about that. But I believe the reason people focused on the 5 was that in that next round, that in-between round, that you're going to get to play the Big 12 champion who probably won't be as ranked as high as an SEC or a Big 10 team. I thought that's why people wanted that, because you would have an advantage in the first 2 rounds, being able to sidestep an SEC or a Big 10 champion, and you would like your matchup against a Big 12 team more. Maybe I'm wrong on how all that seeding. Expert on that.
Yeah, I'm not putting this out there as a fact. I'm putting this out there to talk about because I haven't heard it talked about. So I don't see much of a difference playing a neutral site game versus number 3 or number 4 in the second round.
Yeah.
But when you have to go and play a neutral site game against the number 1 team in the nation in the third round just to get the title game, I do think that that's different than having to play the 2 or the 3 or the 2.
And
that's what I wanted to throw out for conversation.
Along with all of the Notre Dame intrigue, Freeman year 3, big expectations and all that, the other ongoing experiment for all of college football is this playoff. No one knows exactly how this is going to look. No, there's no data. No one has any numbers on how this is going to line up, who it might favor, not favor, or if it's pretty fair. How the seeding goes. Is there going to be a lot of controversy about that cutoff between the final teams that get a home game versus have to go on the road? Like, we have no data. So this is all one big experiment, and I don't think anybody knows what to expect, but we're going to enjoy the ride. It's going to be wild.
All right. Well, that's all I called it. I just want to throw that out there. You can kick it around, kick the tires, see what you think, let other people chime in on it. But I just haven't heard that discussed much, and I wanted to see why.
Interesting.
To me, the 60 looks like the better pass.
Very interesting. Thank you. Give me something else to think about and worry about in my head. Thanks a lot, man. Enjoy your day.
You're welcome.
Take care.
Later, Johnny.
Yeah. Ooh, what a nice phone line when he took it off. That's dude, when you do this, you're like, that's what's attracted to you. You're like, wow, nice phone line, baby. Nice and clear. Oh, one more thing. We were talking about getting Michigan on the schedule. And I don't believe they're on again till 33 when we go to the big house. But the other thing to think about is this goes for LSU and Michigan. I got a feeling you're a lot more likely to run up to one or both of those teams in this new playoff than before, whenever the L33 is or something. Like, this is it. I'm telling you, it's not on the schedule, so you can't count on it. But I got a strong inclination. You know, the brackets are whatever they are. You're likely to run into Michigan or LSU. But sooner rather than later. Woo! Baby, now we're cooking. Now we're cooking. What is this? John brings up Kelly's name every time he needs to prove a point. It's sad, bro. Find new points and old Freeman responsible. He lost to Marshall and Stanford. Kelly was not there. I went out of my way to bring up that we lost those games. I didn't avoid it. I directly addressed it. Also, I bring up Kelly when I think it's relevant. And I give Kelly a lot of credit for a lot of things he's done at Notre Dame. He did a good job in a lot of ways at Notre Dame. I give him credit for that. He inherited a nightmare. He really did inherit a program like in a bad spot and built it up. So I want to give him credit on that. But that alone isn't good enough to get you a statue and a good reputation in Notre Dame. You also have to win big, work hard, and treat people the right way. Those are kind of big deals. And he didn't do any of those things. $5 Aller. Trust me, the committee will do everything possible to keep ND out of the 5 seed. I mean, you got to listen, Adam. We just need to be in a position where we're in position for the 5 seed, right? Like, if we're even in position to be considered for the 5 seed, I'm interested. I'm interested. John, you can't fool me. You swipe over Freeman's faults. No, I don't. He's got to get a lot better in a lot of areas. And the in-game stuff needs to be over. There's no margin of error. There's no leeway anymore. There's no understanding you're a new guy. You cannot be mismanaging time at the end of halves and the end of games. You cannot have 10 people out there instead of the amount that's allotted to you out there. All of that needs to be over. You cannot go into big games and not be prepared like we've been on the road the last year and a half. You can't do any of that stuff. Also, let's be honest about it. Freeman needs to, if you want to get this where you really want it to be, he's got to have a higher closing rate on a couple more blue chip top end, 5-star bona fide, one on offense. Like, you could use some more of that too. But as far as the effort and the motor to the energy of the Notre Dame program, it is night and day right now than what it was at the Kelly era. There was no juice. There was nothing happening. Nothing. And I know maybe nobody cares about this. How you treat people matters. And it very much matters at Notre Dame. We'll just leave it at that. Nikki Dean loves to be heard and seen. What's going on, baby?
Hey, John, I don't know who this Nikki Dean guy is, but this is Ed Ogeron. You got to quit talking bad about me. I talk funny. I talk funny. But daggone it, I won a championship at LSU.
Oh,
You
that's
gotta let me be, bud.
I kind of like that, man. You got a natural little accent there almost that I couldn't recreate. Adam, thanks for the $5 hour. Appreciate you, buddy. Get out on that boat today, Adam. So, Nick, where are you at with this, man? I've been busy this summer. I haven't done the Saturday night shows where it's more convenient for your schedule. I would love to know where you're at a few weeks away from Notre Dame reporting back to camp, getting this all going. We got a big recruiting day this afternoon, some more coming up. I'd love to know where your mind is and where your heart is on all this stuff.
Well, I'm getting fired up, and my wife's going nuts about that. It's too early. It's too early. It's never too early, honey.
Yeah.
Don't tell me that.
Yeah. I
But,
feel that.
You know, we're working on the kitchen right now, painting and putting new plugs and stuff in the wall. So, you know, I'm relaxing today. But, you know, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday when I hear you talk on the telephone there, it kind of gets me nervous and gets me fired up, and I'm at work, so I can't really do anything about it. But
Yeah.
I'm getting excited about these guys that we might get. I really hope we get Owusu. Man, that'd be a big get.
Yeah. It would. The big deal to me is if they could pull it off with 4 or 5 of these more guys. You need two, if not 3 receivers for sure. I know Andrew Gilmore's asking about that. You need at least 2, if not 3 of them. What I like, Nick, is that they're ending the class and the options to fill it out are like 4-star guys. They're not limping to the finish line, can't find their numbers, need guys with my body type just to say we filled out the class. You could actually end it upswing with momentum, and that would be a very big change for the way I'm used to Notre Dame doing it.
Yes, that would be awesome. I would love to see us get 3 or 4 stars in this last little bunch. 3 receivers would be great. Everybody's worried about the offensive line, man. I just got this feeling that Denbrock's going to be on them, you know, and Rudolph's going to be on them. And he's going to say, look, everybody's saying you guys are our weak spot. And that's going to fire those guys up, you know. I'm not going to say we're going to be great, but like you always say, we just have to win week 1. And then after that, we can jump or however long.
They're going to have some decisions to make throughout this year, not just game 1. They're going to have some decisions to make along that offensive line. They're going to have to make some decisions of limited athleticism and talent that's capped at a certain level, but with experience versus low on experience, but a very high athletic ceiling in some of these young guys and what they can be. How do you calibrate that out? What do you prioritize? What are you more comfortable with? That's the way I see it. So they're going to have some decisions to make here. Maybe we get to camp and certain guys emerge and they make the decision for these guys because they're just undeniable and they're bullying people around and you got to give them the job. If that doesn't happen, they're going to have some interesting calculations to make. And what level of risk are they willing to assume there at the O-line? It's going to be really interesting.
Yeah, I'm really kind of hesitant on getting rid of Rocco Stendler. I know Goolsby hates him, but I think last year a lot of the sacks that he got accredited with were really, oh my gosh, his name just went on my head. Blake Fisher's problem. You know, I think, you know, offensive linemen are supposed to block inside first, and Blake Fisher was always looking outside.
I'm telling you what.
So that's just my opinion.
Man, think of how different Notre Dame would be looked at entering this year if you had both of your eligible tackles returning that add extra, like have another year. Think of how different everybody's brain would be right now if you still add those 2 tackles that are now in the league, man. It would be, and I'm happy for them. They went to the pros, whatever. But man, that would be change the calculus a lot, I think.
Oh yeah. We'd be, you know, our offensive line would be a top 5 unit easily.
Yeah.
Easily.
And people would be like, oh, they're going to kill everybody. They're going to run all over them, blah, 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 like they always do. But
can I
one
ask you
thing
something,
that I
Nick? You go ahead, and then I'm going to ask you a question. Go ahead.
one thing that I keep putting in the chat, and I think you laugh at every time, how many slants and running back screens you think Denbrock's going to run a game?
I know, man.
Just on average.
Dude, I've never understood it. I don't understand why every team in America that has half the talent Notre Dame does can throw crossers and screens and slants, and their guys are wide open. They catch it in space, and then they gain like 15 yards every time. And for Notre Dame, it's just like impossible to throw. I never understood it, Nick. It drives me absolutely insane. Here's what I know. Yeah. Mike Denbrock does not coach offense scared. He is not going to be shy. He wants to push it. He wants to empower the players to be able to push it and have an exciting offense and do all this stuff. Like, he's not shy. I think we're going to see a lot of new aged offense. Not new age in the country, but new age for Notre Dame, the way they run this offense. And I'm here for it.
Me too. I want to see those slants and screens and quick outs that actually work, that, you know, the other receiver blocks one person. He doesn't just olay him.
Imagine that.
Kill our guy.
Imagine that.
Oh, my God.
That's crazy.
I can't count how many times Will Fuller just got creamed on a wide receiver screen because nobody blocked for him.
Yep.
And then, you know, he'd break one for 90 yards. You're like, oh, okay, that's why they keep doing it. But
yeah, it's
it's not going to be 90 yards every time.
It's going to be really interesting. But listen, through a lot of the Kelly era, through the Gerard Parker era, the offense felt timid in either that they didn't want to try and be exciting, or they knew they couldn't be because of talent limitations. That's a whole different problem. But for whatever reason, it just felt like a timid approach to offense. And I think the team can feel that too when you're not even trying to push it and be that exciting and do these things. And I think that's going to shift. And the guy's mentality is going to shift with it. And once you make a couple of these big, flashy, exciting, modern age plays, we're not used to it, Notre Dame. I think more of them come. You build that confidence. It's then on tape. There's a proof of concept. You could do it that way. That's what I want to see this year.
Yeah, I agree with you. In the past, we were so timid and, run the ball left, run the ball right. Oh, throw a tight end pass and hope we get 10 yards. That stuff's got to be over. I want to run the ball still, but when it's timely, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
When it's appropriate.
I'm never asking for Notre Dame to give up its internal desire to have running the ball be the DNA and the bedrock. I do not want to give up physicality, wanting to run the ball or whatever. But I'm just saying you got to be able to do both. You got to be able to do both. If you want to make noise in the new playoff, you're going to have to be able to threaten the defense through the air and on the ground. And some of that comes with the talent, but some of it does come with what you write up on offense, how you want to do it, the chances you're willing to take, and let these guys shine. And so I'm really genuinely excited to see Denbrock's fingerprints on this Notre Dame offense because he is not shy. I am not going to act like we have LSU's athletes. Like, I'm not going to act like Notre Dame's roster is getting better. I'm not acting like it's LSU's offense from last year. I don't need it to be that. I just need it to be a lot more effective and efficient in big games than we've been. That's all I need.
We need more than 19 points in our big games.
Yeah.
I'm talking we need 30, 35 every game.
And then you pair that with a year 3 Al Golden defense, and guess what? Now you're cooking in the playoff if you're able to do that.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
I don't know, man. And then the question I have for you is, how are you approaching the A&M buildup? Do you feel that I'm like fear mongering and getting people all in their heads, building it up bigger than it has to be by me thinking of like this wartime mentality and getting ready for battle and all that? Am I overdoing it and it's almost not helpful? Or like, I'm wondering how you think Notre Dame should handle this run up, and what do you think about this game?
My opinion on that game is they're ranked 7th or 8th in the SEC. I know they have talent, but Elko is in his first year there. So they're going to be a little discombobulated. And if we're scared of a 7th or 8th ranked SEC team, we got some work to do, a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
I'm not saying we're going to stomp a mud hole in their butt, but I think we should beat them by 10. And it's going to be close first half, but second half, we're going to make some adjustments, which is, again, something that we haven't done in the past on offense. And we're going to take over the game in the second half. That's just how I feel about it.
Yeah. It's a big moment. And again, I keep going back to two different things. There's the practical and the perceptual. Practical, if you lose that game, you have no leeway the rest of the year. You need to win 11 games in a row, or you're in big trouble, Marcus Freeman. And then the perceptual is you have no momentum and you lose all credibility week one. All the fans are going to be negative. My chat's going to be toxic. No one's going to believe in the team or Freeman. It's all going to be negative. Then maybe if you're undefeated the rest of the way and then beat Florida State, people will buy back in. But it's a bad spot to be, and it's the one place I don't think Freeman can afford to be week one, year 3 with all this national pressure. You got to win it.
Yeah, it's a gotta win, not a must win. It's a gotta win game.
Yeah,
the difference is
that's a good way to put it.
The difference to me is if you're in a must win game, you must out of the playoffs. The gotta win game is you gotta win because you need it for your program to look playoff ready, and that's the situation I think we're in with Texas A&M. Is we want to look playoff ready in that game.
Yeah, it's and you know what, and again, if we're of the mindset that the offense may take a while to find its footing, and I do believe that with the offensive line and the quarterback missing all spring, whatever, I believe that it may take some time to do that. That defense, you need to be what you've been, the backbone of the program, and you need to come ready to play week one and do what you need to do. And I think they're going to be prepared for the moment.
Yeah, I think that's why Mills and Cross came back, is because they said, hey, wait a second. We could be like a key part of this defense that could help Notre Dame go far in the playoffs.
Yeah. And really, in an ideal world, Nick, Notre Dame beats A&M because it's game one and we play good and they're figuring things out. And then you would want A&M to get a lot better as the Elko effect starts taking hold. And then I wouldn't mind them getting stronger throughout the year, which they're going to do. And if they end up being a top quarter SEC team or whatever, that helps Notre Dame. So you have a big opportunity here. And I got news for everybody. It's going to be, the games at home the next year. But if you give Elko a full year to shape a program, they're going to be a lot better week one, year 2 than week one, year 1.
Yep. He's going to be ready for South Bend next year. That's the game that has me worried.
Yeah. Well, we got a lot to worry about before we get there. Yeah, exactly. Hey, Nick, thanks for the phone call. And make sure you tell your lovely wife I said hello. She's one of the nicest, most genuine. Everything that I really appreciate.
Yeah. All right, Johnny, you have good rest of your weekend, and doing a Saturday show, or you busy?
Probably not. I got family stuff to do with this Saturday. And then after that, I think we're going to do them running into camp. So we'll have a string of them where we get back in the groove and we build up to camp. Yeah, but I've had a lot of stuff going on this summer, and I need to do the family stuff before the season starts, and I have no weekends free for like 6 months. So I got to do the right thing and do as much family stuff as I can before we get into that.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we loyal fans understand that, Johnny. So you have a good weekend, brother, and thanks for taking my call.
Thanks a lot, man. Really appreciate you. You're a long-time guy. I appreciate you, Nick. Couple things here. 574, you're coming up. Nobody is there to kiss butt like Coach Freeman, John. And who cares about being liked? Do you want to compete or not? If so, supply the resources. I'll say again, the ND admin failed ND. No offense. You don't know how Notre Dame works behind the scenes as well as I do. Do you know those people involved? Do you know how they operate? Have you had meetings with them? No, you have not. I have. Let me tell you, Kelly pissed them off. They shut it all down. Then Kelly shut down and we had a standoff. That's what happened. So, and I understand the admin needs to do whatever it takes to win. Yeah, I agree with you on that part. But when the head coach doesn't play nice with the people they need to, you don't get those resources. They don't listen to you when you say you need and want things. They don't listen to you when you say you need money for certain things. You need a new building. You need this. I need a little lighter academic restrict. They don't listen to you when you piss them off and you're an ass. Brian Kelly didn't treat people the right way, and they were the wrong people to treat that way, and they shut it all down. You had a big standoff. Kelly wanted the admin to do certain things, and they weren't going to do it, and the admin wanted certain things of Kelly, and he wasn't going to do it. We had a standoff, and that led to this divorce. That's what happened. Relationships matter everywhere. Relationships matter more in Notre Dame. And if it goes wrong, it creates a whole bunch of bad vibes and problems, and you can't get everything fully on track. $43 holler from the Ohio podcast. It's my 43rd birthday. Thank you, John and AI, for offering me a great place to yell about football. Doing a live college show tonight for my birthday. If you want to do this Buckeye style tonight, cheers. You know, the only problem, Ohio Pod, is it's your birthday. What are you giving me for it? What are you giving me money for? What a generous guy. Everybody else should be giving you money on your birthday. Look at you. You're giving it up to me on your birthday. It's very nice. It's very nice. And again, Eric, I got to tell you, man, it really does bother me how much I like you personally. Like, it's the biggest compliment in the world for me to be like, I want to dislike this Ohio guy. I just can't. You're too nice of a person, Eric. Start being more like Kelly. Start being more like Brian Kelly, damn it. Because I'm getting sick of liking you this much. Happy 43rd, man. Happy 43rd. Your team can't lose a game. I'm sorry, man. All that talent and everything they got going, you got to go. The expectations got to be 12-0. It's going to be interesting. Yeah, but SPF. It really is. You're out of your lane when you start telling me about how the inner workings of the back rooms of the board works at Notre Dame. Who do you think has more information about that? You or me? I got news for you. It's me. And the way it goes is if you piss off the wrong people, nothing gets done, and they will actually work against you to make sure nothing gets done. It's not even SPF. It's not even neutral. There are parties at Notre Dame that will actively work against the football program's interest if you piss them off. Now, is that the way it should be? No. No. That's not the way it should be anyways. But those people have 50 other things at Notre Dame they care about before football success shows up on the list. You need to understand that too. Football success is not the top priority of the powers that be at Notre Dame. Okay? How did Lou win? He was known as an ass. Yeah, but Lou knew how to work it. Lou knew how to work it. Lou knew how to polish that a little bit. Kelly didn't have that. He just barged in and just did whatever he wanted. I just don't understand it. You know, I'll give you an example, SPF. Lou Holtz, the last Notre Dame coach that won a championship, when Kelly was struggling and had some very unfortunate things happen to him at Notre Dame. Lou Holtz, I repeat, the last coach that won a championship in Notre Dame, that knows what that journey's like, wrote Kelly multiple letters supporting him, telling him it's going to be okay to get through it, offered support if you wanted to bounce anything off him. Lou Holtz wrote multiple personal letters to that guy trying to support him, and he never heard back. That's a good way to not succeed at Notre Dame, to not have that reverence and respect for the last guy that won a title for you. Charlie Weiss was also known as a real ass. Yeah, and he didn't win anything and got fired. What's your point? Didn't win anything and got fired. Oh, man. The Weiss era was really something. Just even looking at him was enough to just turn me just upside down with frustration. My word, the runny nose, and everything that went with him, and the belt and geez, and then he got the leg injury, and then it's just everything about it was bad. 574, give me some more. What's going on?
Hey, what up, John? John, it's Walter Mackey. What's up, man?
I'm doing well. We're not that far away. We're going to have football soon. It's a few weeks away. Our boys are going to be reporting back to humid August South Bend weather, and we're going to get it ramped up. I would love to know from you, what's on your mind? Is it recruiting? Is it A&M? What's on your mind?
There's a few things. I want to go back to the Jersey talk because I don't know how they can possibly do better on them. I also want to talk about what freshman player of the year on the team will be. Ooh. And I also like to let you know who my sleeper pick on the team will be.
Oh, I like this. This is a caller who came prepared. Give me it. Let me hear your theories.
Now, I might be left with no choice but to buy a white jersey for Xavier Watts, because when I got his autographs, I even videotaped myself and posted it, telling him that I'm going to buy his jersey and I'm going to be at a senior day game. And I kind of want to be true to my word on that to him. But white jersey is the only one, because I'm pretty much like a 260 plus pound dude. I wish I wasn't. And the only jersey that can really fit that's comfortable with Under Armour is 3XL, because the 2XL fits too much like a shirt. It's like too tight.
Yeah.
I don't like how it fits.
Yeah.
But with a white jersey, do you think they could have done better?
Yeah. I mean, I do. I don't like, but it's like, I don't know if it's minor complaints. Like, I don't like the Under Armour on the bottom of the V of the collar. I think that should be a Notre Dame emblem of whatever Freeman wants it to be.
I think they should put straps on the sleeves at least.
Yeah, I don't know. And I still haven't got a clear vision of that gold. I want to see how bright that, if they change to the gold, ND on the sides of the shirt. I want to see what that looks like. But again,
that is interesting.
Damn it. If you're going to go win all your games, I have a lot more leeway to let you wear whatever you want to wear. Like, it's just, that's how it is.
True.
You know what I mean? I'm like, if you're going to play good ball, wear whatever you want. And if you're not, then I'm going to bitch about everything. And I admit that's how I look at it.
Well, I think they should keep the white jerseys the same with the Notre Dame logo, the blue. It's just, you're not going to be really able to see it if it's gold. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's one of my thoughts too, is I want to make sure if
it ain't broke, don't fix it. But
yeah, I need things to pop. So. I like contrast. I like color contrast that makes things pop. Somebody needs to think of that. And I don't know. So it's win your games, and I'm fine with just about anything you do, other than those Yankee pinstripe uniforms, which ruined not one, but two of the most iconic uniforms in the world. They ruined both of them. Good job.
Don't even start with those Yankee uniforms, but the sad thing is they won a big game in that, so who knows if they'll do that again.
Oh man.
I did not like not using the gold pants or the gold helmet. But one of my friends that shots in our work, he told me that they should put green stripes around the jersey. I'm thinking, all right, I have blue stripes. Doesn't have to look like, the stripes on USC padding, shoulder pads, but at least like a basic, kind of like what you see at practice. You know what I mean?
Yeah. God, but I don't.
At least add to it.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to say the one thing that has improved the last few years that is a big deal to me is at least the gold is more of a robust gold that pops in the lights, and it's not that turd brown Weiss era gold that I hated. Like at least they got more gold going in the pants and the helmets now. Like that's at least a good start.
But yeah, only reason why I mentioned why because I might have no choice because like I said, I want to be true to my word to Xavier Watts. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you're saying, and I need him to. How good is this defense going to be? Can we transition a little from the fabric to the real deal? I think this defense in year 3 of Al Golden, with the blend of old and young guys on it, they should be really good. I expect this defense to be great, and if they're not, something's gone horribly wrong. Do you agree? Do you concur?
Yeah, I agree. They better be as great as they're advertised to be. I mean, you have a Heisman killing safety Xavier Watts, who basically destroyed Caleb Williams. You have the lockdown Benjamin Morrison. You have Howard Cross III, and this is who I'm going to skip to my freshman player of the year. I think it's going to be KVA. That Asa dude. I'm having a hard time pronouncing his
Yeah,
name.
just do KVA. We know what you're talking about. Now, let me ask this. Is he going to be – the one question I have is, I have no doubt he's physically developed and reads the field enough. He could be out there. But is it just going to be initially in like sub packages and certain downs and distances where they deploy him? Like, I'm wondering how often he could get out there and make that impact like early on in the year as a freshman, but physically, and he processes the game at an advanced level. I'm just wondering how long it's going to take before he's a guy you just can't take off the field. That would be my question with him.
It could be around mid-October. I think that's how long it might take.
And you know what else?
It could be
I got
in September.
I got another question for you. What are the updates on Morrison's recovery? That is a big, big deal if he is 100% or able to play at all when we go to A&M. And the other thing is, I know I'm not the first show to mention this. When they do these updates on the injuries and, we expect guys to be ready for camp or whatever, sometimes there's a little wiggle room there and the guys aren't quite as ready as we're all thinking. I have not heard any updates lately about where Morrison's at. That is a big thing we're all looking at week 1. Evans, too. I'm looking at those. Those are 2 of your biggest players you got. And then, obviously, you got to make sure the quarterback's ankle doesn't snap in half. I got worries. I got concerns.
Sure, when you're talking about injured ankles, granted, not as bad as Riley Leonard's, but you're making me think about the time when I was 15 years old. I was at the skate park. I tried to get air off this ramp.
How'd that go?
And I chipped my ankle.
Ooh.
I
Woo.
hate ankle injuries, bro.
Yeah. It's so there's a lot on the line here, and there's a lot going on into this camp, and there's a lot going on into this game. The one thing that I'm going to say is people are saying I'm easy on Freeman. If he gets up there at the beginning of camp and says, we just need to do our thing and have good practices, and we don't need to prepare for A&M specifically and the loud noise and the heat and everything. We're just going to do our thing or whatever. and then you go in there and play like crap, and then you go in there and play like crap. Now I'm going after you, Marcus. You got to do the right thing. You got to have these guys prepared for the moment. So when they get there, they're like, oh, practice was harder than this. Let's go. I'm not having it this year. This is not last year where you had 5 weeks of games to worry about, 4 weeks of games to get into week 5, prepare for the big one emotionally. This ain't that. You got all summer and all August to get ready for this.
You're damn right. And I'm not going to get cocky with Dan Morrison's injury being a big deal for this game, but I think we can still, I think they can still win without him, because luckily the Aggies don't have that receiver that scares us. It's their defenders that scare us.
Yeah, that's a good point, but I know they got some athletes, and people are mentioning Christian Gray. If you made me pick a breakout guy somewhere, like on the team or on defense, but he would be one of them. He is long, he is lanky, he is athletic, he is the type of guy back there Notre Dame has not had enough of for most of my entire life. I love it, and he's about to pop, baby.
And here's my sleeper pick for the season. I'm not going to say 1,000 yards receiving, but I'm thinking somewhere between 750 yards receiving, 6 to maybe 8 touchdowns, maybe even close to 800 yards by Jordan Faison.
There you go, man. Oh, geez. He could have a really, really big year. He could have a big year. And so, but again, you need things.
I don't understand a walk on.
You need things to go the right way, though. That quarterback's got to be healthy and good, and you got to have the line, have protection. You got to have some other athletes out there to divert some of the attention so he could get open and do his thing. The one thing with Faison is he has a gift that you can't teach. He just has a feel of where he needs to be to make a play work. Wiggle his way into the right area or out of the right area and he's just got that. The way good linebackers have a feel for plays and where they need to be and what they need to do, the way every good linebacker has that intuition. He kind of has that on offense, man. He just knows kind of how to wiggle to get where you need to get, and it's a beautiful thing, and you can't teach it. It's just a gift. All right. It seems like that guy, somebody got him with a firework or something. I don't know where he went. Oh, man. All right, people. We've gone over 2 hours already today. That's going to be it. We do have a bunch more calls that are waiting to jump in. I got things I got to do. Just a busy last couple of weeks. Got a couple things I need to do. So God bless everybody who called. Eric at the Ohio Podcast, happy birthday. You're really, really a great guy. And it pisses me off to say that, but you're so nice. I just cannot like you. And everybody who donated, everybody who chatted, everybody with the calls, and we'll have a bunch more. And the other thing is, if you're available, go jump over in the Ohio Podcast birthday call in. Give them a hard time about Notre Dame or about what happened with Michigan last year with them, whatever you want to do. Always with the excuses on why we can't go 3 hours, Johnny. Yeah, I know. I'm full of the excuses. 2 hours isn't enough. So here's the deal, everybody. If you're not working today, it's a weird day. A lot of people have the day off. A lot of people have to work. It's weird. Depends on the industry, maybe, or what you do for work. Relax for a few hours. See if we get Blair, and that'll be a good little energy jolt to the recruiting class. SPF, even when you give me a hard time, I know you mean well. You're not even like a big troll. Like, I know you do mean well, and you're genuinely here every day. I do appreciate, and I respect you being around. So thanks to everybody, man. I love doing this show, and I'm really excited to get into the year. These post-game shows are growing. We got momentum. And so when we get into this season, it's really going to take back off, and I can't wait. Thanks to everybody for being here. You guys are great. There is no show without all you. Thank you.